guys, it's Miss Jenkins, back with you guys again to make a cool project. What do you guys think? Isn't this so cool? I love this project. It's so fun and it just looks really interesting. As soon as I saw it, I thought of the planets. Shout out to Miss Tooker. And I just thought about optical illusion, which is kind of where it's, thematically it's kind of optical illusion related. And then it's got some science in there too with the salt and the water painting reaction. So let's begin by grabbing your materials. You need a white piece of paper. You need a pencil, an eraser, a Sharpie. You need a paintbrush. You need some watercolor. And then you need several different circle objects that you can use for templates. So I was going to use this tape, because they're both circular, and this tennis ball cap container, and my little salad little thing that also makes a circle. And then you also need some salt, okay? Those are all the things you need. So I'm going to use Sharpie, but I highly recommend that you use pencil so that you don't accidentally do things that you can't erase. So for this circle here, I'm going to use the outside of the tape, and I'm holding it nice and still so it doesn't move and something weird happened there. And then I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use the small side. Excuse me. But I don't want to overlap this over that. I want it to appear like the smaller circle is behind this one. So I'm not going to go over this line. I'm going to start there and I'm going to stop there. Okay, so if you take it off, this looks like it's in front of this, right? Let's grab this one again. We can put it over here. This time I'm going to use the inside of the roll. Now I have 3 different sizes. I'm going to come over here and use this little baby. And again, because I don't want it to appear in front of the medium one, when I go around it, I'm going to stop before I go into this circle here. And basically, y'all, I'm just going to keep going around and doing a little bit of these circles. Now, if you're working in pencil and you accidentally go in here, no big deal, right? Because then you can just erase this thing right here. So just keep that in mind. It allows you the flexibility to make errors. Let's do one more over here. And I think we'll do, should we do this one? No, we'll do this one, yeah. Okay, so again, I'm going to be careful not to go into the other circles. I'm going to go just on the outside of this one. And look how it shows right here. And I think I'm going to stop there with my circles. After that, I'm going to go ahead and use my Sharpie to go around my circles, sort of creating that optical illusion that I was talking about. So you can't use a ruler for this. I would just start using Sharpie right away. I know it means you can't erase, but I think it's just as hard to use pencil for this part and then to have to go over it in Sharpie, like to trace over it. You can do that if you want to, but you can also just take a risk and see how it goes. All right, so for this, you're going to start slowly going around your shapes. And let's say you get, like you see how I got wide there? I did that on purpose so that I can make the decision to do lines inside of there and then allow some of these lines to go out here. And then I can fill in my spaces. So go around and keep adding your layers of lines. And just keep working those circles in there, repeating. And you're going to do that for some of these. And for some, you'll just do parts of it, like for this. You can go over here and do that, and then you can do this out here. And so I'm going to do this around all my circles for a little while before I continue moving outwards. So I'm going to go around this one, and around, around, around. And guys, it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. Look, I made a little mistake right here, and it's no big deal because I can just simply adjust it by fixing that line just a little bit there. I'm going to do the same thing here. Just keep going around. Match that up there. And then I'm going to go around this one for a little bit. And turn your paper as you need to in order to get to comfortably wrap your circles around your circle templates. Okay, so now that I've done that for everything a little bit, now I'm going to start to go through and focus on making entire shapes within the spaces that are left over. I'm still going to follow this curve, and then I follow this one, and then I follow this one, and then I follow here. Okay, I'm going to turn my paper as I need to make things more comfortable for myself. And curve around, curve around. I'm going to stop before I hit that area there. And I'm going to curve around this one. Turn my paper as I need to make things easier for me to draw. Curve, stop before I hit that line. Go around this shape. Around this shape. So now I'm basically tracing around the whole thing and not treating the circles as their own things. So you come back over here again, you come in here, curve, curve, go over here, turn it a little, curve, 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 keep going until you fill up all the space, okay? So see how I got wide over there? No big deal. I can just connect another one in between and go like that and like that. So, for example, right here, you're not gonna be able to go over here anymore. So now you just continue within this space as its own section, okay? So you can see how the inside is changing a little. It used to be these separate curves in there, and now it's coming to a point. So you just keep going until you've got no more room. Same thing over here. You've got this corner right here. You'll just continue with the curve. You'll keep going. And same with over here. You'll continue repeating that curve, parallel lines, one after the other. And now we're going to focus on this other side here. And this will still connect as one. So we'll go, and we'll go all the way around. As long as there's space to go all the way around the shapes, you know, as one whole line, then that's what you do. And around, and then this way again. So you just keep going, keep repeating. All right, so that's going to be the last time that I can go over there. So I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to finish this area over here and over here. Almost done with my black and white background. And you guys, it is not perfect, okay? Even mine is not perfect, nor do I want it to be. But you just, the most important thing is you just try to keep good craftsmanship and you try to follow the idea, okay? The idea is that there is repeated lines that are spaced approximately the same as you go, close enough. And if you have a really wide section in between, you know, things that are more narrow, you just simply add a line in between within the wide space to make narrower spaces in between your lines. Okay, so here we are. Now we're coming here to this one and finishing that part up and finishing this part up. And our last section right here. Now that we have, see how as you keep going, it gets small and small and small, and then you can't go around the entire composition anymore. It's separated into sections that you treat as separate entities. Okay, so done with our background, okay? Now we're going to do some saltwater painting. So fun. So make sure you've got your water and your paint and your salt, okay? So I'm not going to do all the circles, but I'm going to show you a couple of them, okay? So it's never a good idea to mix colors together that are complements. All right, so now we're going to do the watercolor. So you want to really wet that brush, really soak it, add some water to your circle, but you really want to soak that paper. Don't rub the water in there. Use the paintbrush sort of as a vessel that brings water to your area. And notice I'm not wetting the whole circle at one time because I really want to be able to control where my paint goes. And then when you put the water into the paint, you see how the paint sort of travels around on that water? So my paintbrush is basically, the tip of my paintbrush is touching that water, which is allowing the paint to do that. And while it's wet, while that fluidity is still sitting on the surface, that's when you add your salt and just leave it alone and then move on. So a color that sits on the color wheel next to blue violet would be violet or would be blue. So I'm going to go ahead and add my water right there, dip it back into my water, activate my blue paint, and then I'm going to use the tip of my paintbrush to let that paint travel on that area. Okay, I'm even going to bring it into my blue a little bit because that's fine. Okay, and then while it's on the surface, I'm going to salt it up and watercolor again. This time I'm going to go into my green, but I actually need to put the water on my area first. So I'm going to go ahead and add that water. Again, it's like a lake of water sitting on the surface there. And then I'll go into my green and start adding some of that color on top of that water. And you can see how you add that color to the area and it's going to travel within that space a little bit. So then you can again add your salt, and then that circle is done. So then you would move over. If you have a little water spillage out here, like you're seeing on this area here, you just want to get a towel while it's still wet and soak up the water from that area to kind of get that off of there as much as you can before it sets really strongly. And then you can move on and do your next circle. Same exact concept, always water first within an area, add your color to it, must be really wet, not wet like soaked into the paper, but wet like sitting on the surface of the paper, and then add your salt. And normally when I do salt painting, I would then, when it dries, take the salt off, but I really like the way the texture of the salt looks on the painting, so I would just leave the salt on there. It's really, really cool, and having that juxtaposition or contrast between something super textured and something smooth and very fluid just looks really neat. So I hope you are enjoying this project, and I can't wait to see what you finish.